find him, my brother makes me promise not to go to the oasis. So, of course, it's where I end up. It is a beautiful place to explore. Life is slow. The air is clean. Secrets are kept. But should I stop looking for answers? I will never stop looking for answers.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another IndieX 2023 session. I am Ana, and right now I'm going to showcase Phoenix Springs, a very unique point-and-click game. I have with me Jigmé Özer from Calligram Studio. Hi Jigmé, how you doing?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm also well. I'm excited to show your very cool game. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
Alright, so we're gonna play the demo while we talk a little bit. Can you give us like an introduction? What is the game about? How it's played?
Sure. So it's like a modern point and click. So I've been telling people. So if you're used to the classic point and click game, you know that's very much like inventory based, where you try and. Sorry, I'll talk after that. Okay.
Thundering, mechanical. I'm on the train.
Yeah. So you see, you'll see in a second that you open an inventory, which is usually objects in a classic point and click game. And what we've done with this one is that instead of objects, it's all concepts. So it's ideas or thoughts, or sometimes it's just like clues that I try and let you progress throughout the game. And you have to connect those
No, it can't be here.
with the world around you, or talk about them
Endless, desolate.
with people. And yeah, so this is what I mean by the modern twist on the point and click game.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you have like different topics, and then you have to associate those topics with whatever you find around, or even with yourself, right?
Yeah, so a key mechanic is that you can also remember things. So if you combine it with her,
Photograph. I was packing at home when I found it. Leo Dormer. My little brother. This is the night I look for him.
We're not on the train anymore.
yeah, you try and
Go ahead.
no, yeah, we try and do a lot of like snappy edits where you jump from one scene to the next. Also, something about if you play a lot of classic point and click, there can be a lot of backtracking when you go from one place to another.
Houses change, the paperwork remains.
It's a very smooth transition. I really like that in the game. Also, like the whole visual aspect, like the art style, is very unique. How did it come to fruition? How did you develop it? Is it all like hand drawn, for example?
So it's a mix of 2D and 3D. My wife is an illustrator, and she does the art and animation.
An archive of
And
my
in
published
fact,
articles. The ones rescued
that was
from
one of the
censors anyway.
the biggest challenges with this game was to try and match the 2D and the 3D. So you can see it here, for example, that she's a 3D character. You can see from the
There's a
shadow,
lot to
like
sift through.
it's a classic
Looking for
Unity
what?
shadows. But there's 2D stuff, all the billboard, all the background, all the sprite.
Not voice
The sofa is 3D.
Dream tech, supposed to regulate sleep cycles.
The screen is
Never got it to
2D.
work.
And yeah, one of the big challenges was to try and match the two styles, which we
Actually,
use a lot of
the
it.
feed.
A lot of the tricks is
Harvesting
to use
data,
like
I'm
filters and the little bit of texture that you see, like the grain texture you see, that makes it look like it's printed almost. So yeah, that was a big technical challenge. Yeah.
And your team is composed of 3 people?
Yeah, that's right. So my wife Eleanor does the art and illustration. Our best friend does the sound design and music, and I do everything
Our
else.
guardian's death certificate is in there.
Like the person that does the rest.
Mentions an address
Yeah.
where Leo lived at the time. Leo Dormer, residing at 17 Tybau Street.
And we just got another subject.
Yeah, that's right.
Good start.
I
But
think
I have
that
no
I
idea what
find
that is.
very unique as well is just the narration. It's very different, very noir as well. Do you have like any inspirations that you when you get a creative flair about like the whole like visual aspect, the noir part, the point and click, any games?
Yeah, so I mean, the
The
background of
desk
the game
would
is like
reach
it started as a
1,000
script, like a film script, and yeah, which I wrote,
That
and
won't answer back.
I was trying to sell. I took a few meetings with like producers, and
Run-of-the-mill
but
machine,
every time they were like,
government issued.
"Oh yeah, this is great. We love it, but what else are you working on?" And I was like, "No, let's. I want to make this one. Let's make this happen."
I can search my
but
personal files.
it's
plus
not
a
how
few
it's supposed to
public
work.
databases.
If you do screenwriting, you have to be take the meetings and you jump on the next project
I
and
load
so on
a
and so
map of the
forth.
city.
But
There. 17 Tybau Street. It's in the new territories. Barking dogs, broken bottles, that kind of neighborhood. Didn't expect any better from Leo.
yeah, so that was another one of those like very like snappy edits to jump from one scene to the next. But that was
Says
I mean,
17 on it.
trying to create this cinematic effect where it feels like you're just jumping from one scene to the next, even if it has this jarring effect. It's supposed to help with making you feel a little bit disorientated. It gives like this dreamlike quality to the game.
Won't
And
budge.
yeah, like you said,
I wonder if I can locate a key somehow.
so you get a new clue. Yeah, like you said, it's very noir in spirit.
Boarded up.
And the voiceover is, contributes to that. It's very much just like overbearing, almost like hypnotic rhythm. But working with the voice actress was an old friend who's a musician. She's not a professional voice actress.
Pungent.
Alexandra Brown. She's doing an amazing job. And
I've never been
the pitch
digging through rubbish.
when we're talking about it, we were trying to hit that kind of
But this
pace,
is
that pacing which is very snappy. And so it's also written like that, the very short sentences, and we're trying to give this kind of like non-stop, almost, it's more like an audiobook if you think about it than voice acting. Yeah.
I'm gonna interact with this.
No names on it. It's to call number 19. I press the button. A crackle.
First
The
conversation.
raspy voice on the other end belongs to an elderly gentleman. He sounds torn between his mistrust of strangers and the need to rant at someone. I switch on the reporter charm. In the end, he's happy enough to talk.
Yeah,
I
that
really
sentence
like
was
that.
too long.
No, it's good. Like, I like that you don't even hear the other person in the conversation. It's always her narrating everything. It's very different, refreshing in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a book. Also, like someone telling what happened, or like hearing someone explain what happened. That cuts also help that. It's like we're hearing her explain everything. Like I was imagining it almost.
Yeah, it's also okay. It's very noir in spirit. We always have this narrator. It's like the unreliable narrator is like a trope of the noir thing.
I explain that my
And
brother used to
also-
live at number 17. The name rings a bell. They didn't interact much, but had been on good terms. Leo helped the old man carry a bed frame upstairs when he moved in. Solid wood, too. He also recalls a gathering to celebrate Leo's university enrollment. Is he certain? About the university part. Yes, he says. A local university, although he can't remember which.
You were saying sorry? Rona also?
Leo moved out soon after and was never seen again. But he was very proud of that, becoming a student so late in his life.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, that's with voice acting. It can be a double-edged sword where it's always great to have more actors, but the more you have, we try to do something very grounded and very like that feels very immersive. We're really aiming for like total immersion, and we tried a few different versions where it was more like direct speech, so you had different characters and PCs, and just finding so many actors. There's quite a few characters. If one of them is not like spot on, it doesn't nail the acting, it kind of takes you out of it. And so that was also a strategy, which is like, oh, let's just make it all go through Alex, the narrator. And so I rewrote the game for in that voice where it all goes through her. And yeah, so it was kind of like almost a technical limitation. So if it's just one actor, it's a lot easier, but it gives it that style that you picked up on.
Yeah, like kind of out of the box. So that limitation lets you explore other creative solutions in a way.
Yeah, exactly. You have the
Does he
walls,
remember
you
the
can
university
push
name?
against.
Yeah.
UMC or GMU, he says, something with 3 letters. He apologizes. His memory isn't what it used to be.
Poor old man.
I thank him anyway.
So what can you tell us about the story? Like who we are, what we're looking for?
Yeah, so in terms of the story, it starts off this reporter called Iris Dormer who's
How
looking
can
for
I
her
access
brother.
the house next door? He has no idea.
And it's pretty much all you're given with, all you're given at the beginning to start with. So you just know that you're looking for him, you're not even sure why. And information is drip fed throughout the game when you reveal more and more. And eventually it takes you to this place called Phoenix Springs, which is this desert oasis. You don't get there straight away, as you know, the demo, it all takes place in a different world. Yeah. But eventually you get there, and that's where most of the game takes place.
So like the demo is the prologue in a way, at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. There's a few more scenes. They set up like scenes, and
So what happened next
that
door? He sighs. A few
that
years
takes
ago,
place.
the landlord's hired
It's almost like a
company to
flashback.
renovate it.
Like the storytelling is not super linear.
They never completed the job,
timeline.
and the place was left to rot. Is that why it's boarded up? No, he says. The orphans are to blame. They set up camp next door. They rummage through bins, break into empty properties. He even tried to sell him his own rubbish after he throws it out. Scavengers, he calls them. No good scavengers. Could they be selling items found at number 17? Of course, he says. They'd sell you their own mothers if they could. Not that they have any, I say. No response.
Have a clue. Go.
I thank him for his time. Be careful out there, he says.
That's right. Yeah, and so in terms of the way the story is told, it's not necessarily a straight line. Like you said, it's not like beginning to end, but it doesn't have multiple choices. It's not. It's the game itself is very linear. It takes you from A to B to C and so forth. There's no like multiple endings or anything. I don't really like them in general. So, and also because it was written as a script, you know. There's a clear ending you're trying to get to.
Yeah, it would make sense. Basically, like this story, that's it.
Also, it's too much
Early
work.
teens.
It's already enough work as it is.
Bare, scrawny,
Yeah, I can imagine.
only has eyes for his gadget.
So you're currently working on this game full time? Like you're both focused on it?
Yes and no. You know, I have 2 kids, and it's like.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But we've been
venture a few questions.
working on it for a while.
Conversation proves difficult. I'm not sure we speak the same language. Or maybe he has no interest in talking to me.
So I stopped talking when she's talking because the sound's quite loud in my earphones. But if you want me to talk over it, it's fine.
Yeah, you can talk over it since there's like a lot of narration in the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can show like the full demo.
Okay. Yeah, we've been working on
I
it
take great
for
care
the
to
better
ensure
part
he
of
understands
7
this
years, I
point.
guess.
Number 17. You
We did a Kickstarter
Fine.
a few years ago, and was like super late
Buying.
on delivering it.
It's like a light is switched on.
Really
He
really
reaches into
embarrassed
his
to say
bag,
how
revealing
it's
worthless
been like
junk.
5 years delayed, which is it's not cool.
A bundle
But
of
we're
pens,
getting there.
elastic bound,
Hopefully in the next
rusty motherboard,
six to 8
ancient
months,
photo
should be
frame,
able to.
chipped wood, slim
Yeah.
pickings.
That's very soon.
I toss him a coin for his
Yeah.
trouble.
Although I've been saying 6 to 8 months for the last 4 years, so we'll see how it goes.
Does he know any universities nearby? I'm not sure he understands the question.
I imagine that like the problems keep popping up, unpredictable problems are like
Yeah.
then like
Maybe more questions later.
in the process, which is like your biggest challenge so far?
So in the past, getting the visual style was
Definitely
a big
bricked.
challenge. But now that's
It's
done.
made of wood,
And that was a huge part
chipped
for
varnish.
the atmosphere and the mood, because
Nothing unusual.
what works in this kind of dystopian
A
noir
bundle
world
of branded
in the
pens.
city doesn't
Says
necessarily
ULS
work
on
with a
them.
nice, bright, sunny oasis. So we had these different styles that didn't really match together, didn't really gel.
Late
So
40s.
every time
Rough.
we got the style down in one place, it didn't work with the other. We had to go back to the drawing board and start again. But now that's done.
The situation seems
The
precarious
writing
enough as it
is
is.
mostly done. It's really just content in terms of,
I attempt
anyone
to
who works
gain
on the
his
game would
attention.
tell you it's like a lot of spreadsheets. It's like if you do this, that, especially as
Yeah.
you have more items in your inventory, every time you add one, you have to
He's in
think
no
of
state to help.
every single possible interaction you can have with him, and it adds up because one of the key things of this
That
kind of
won't
game
help.
design is that if you don't have enough
Maybe a few more questions.
ideas or clues in your inventory, it's very easy to brute force.
The
So you
old
can
man
just
picks
try
up.
on everything
Got nothing
Yeah.
very
left.
quickly. So one solution is to add a lot of noise. So in what you see there, in your clues, some of them would be false leads
What
or
can you
red
tell me about
herrings,
the renovating
and
company?
you just have to
I
gradually
wouldn't hire them myself.
get rid of them as you move on. The game does it automatically. When you get to the next
does it
scene, kind of purges
with
some of
three
the clues that you don't need, but it still kind of sprawls and grows as the game progresses.
You combine this with this.
It says ULS on them. The old man mentioned a 3-letter
Ah.
university name.
Yep. Well done.
Long shot, but worth investigating.
This is so I've been showing the game at a few conferences. I've just come back from Australia, and this puzzle, the one you just did there, is the one that a lot of people struggle with, because there's a kind of
The old man.
it is an aha moment in the game when you
Got
realize,
nothing
oh,
better
I
do,
have
he
to
says.
put an idea onto something that's out there in the world.
I mentioned the initials.
But it's like
Do they
it's
sound
really cool
familiar?
seeing how people solve it, because you see when you see people
ULS
play,
says.
you see how they think, the
That's
brain,
the
which is
University
it's really
of
cool.
Life Sciences.
And people always surprise you in how they play the game.
It's interesting
I
that
vaguely remember reading about
you
it.
have like a menu of
Some
tips.
riots halted
It's
construction a few
the main
years back.
menu, just telling
The
you
building
like
now appears
the classic
simultaneously
double click
demolished
to
and
go
incomplete.
faster. How like more or less the gameplay works. And when I played the demo for the first time, I didn't even press that. I just jumped right into the demo, and I just very easily managed to play along the game, understand how it works, which is a good sign, I would say.
Oh, thank you. It's really nice to hear. Yeah, it's
Some kind of solar system.
I think it's quite
to
difficult,
tell.
and you see some people, especially at conferences, it's so great. You see people sit down,
This one seems
and after 1 minute they're
particularly
like, I can't deal with
concerned.
this. It's just that.
Aw.
New
I put quite a lot of
design,
frustration at the
old
beginning of the game, and I
Mm.
don't tell people what to do. There's no
Says
hand-holding.
ULS.
It's very like
Yeah.
Abstract
hands-off kind of
logo.
approach. And
It
some people play and they pick it up and like they're lost. They're in it, like in the world straight away.
Unfinished
And
project.
For some people, it comes really naturally, and when it does, like, the game tries to reward the player with, if you make those connections, you
Several
get to
parts
progress
to
quite
the
fast.
others.
But
I wonder who's in there.
it's also interesting. I don't know if you do you play a lot of point-and-click games yourself?
I used to, yeah, I used to with my family. While growing up, I played a lot of them, so I think that definitely also helps. But I haven't played one in a lot of years. I think.
Yeah. So it's also interesting that where people who are really, really used to
They
point-and-click
seem really
games,
out of it.
sometimes they have more trouble
Barely
than
seemed
people
to
who
beat.
are kind of new to point-and-click games because
How can they
they
rest
have
with
to
that
unlearn
racket?
a lot of the classic moves of the
Oh
point-and-click
yeah.
games. Yeah, so they're like trying to pick things up. They're trying to use everything all the time. This is not exactly how this one works.
Booming,
But it's great
pulsating.
if you manage to pick it up straight away. That's a good sign,
Yeah.
like you said.
I understood that it's not about like an item inventory, but more about like the topics and subjects inventory, which is very interesting.
Arcane tech
Yeah.
to me.
So in the classic point-and-click game, there's something called the key before door problem, which is if you
I
walk
command
around
her
and you
attention.
pick things up,
Hard to
you end
keep
up
for
with stuff
long.
in your pockets
Music's
and
blaring.
you're not quite sure why.
She slurs her
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
won't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I gather,
So
she's been dancing
the idea
for
here,
6
when you
hours
flip on its
straight.
head, is like
All of them have. It's her
you
event,
walk
she
around with
explains.
the concept
A monthly
of a
gathering.
locked door. This
Like
is what you
one
have
of
in your
those
head. It's like,
testimonials
how
of
do I
sleep
open this
deprivation.
door? You don't walk around with a
No
bunch of keys in
stimulants,
your
she
pocket.
says.
You walk
Just
around
easy
with the
Mhm.
problem, like, how do I open this door?
Kids these days.
Which,
Anyway, time for questions.
again, I mean, I hope it works, but it's also a kind of a design choice to support the mood, to feel like very grounded. It feels kind of real. Yeah, again, to trying to create this really immersive experience where you don't go like, why am I carrying this thing? You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we don't have like infinite pockets just stuffing it with things that we find around.
Yeah.
Why did she choose the university? I thought it was a church, she says. That name. She's never heard it before. She doesn't need to be asked about that.
The DJ, this
Okay.
party.
That will do for now.
Yeah, she's useless. She doesn't. So, built this entire scene and realized it's a bit of a spoiler. So if someone's watching and never played the game, maybe don't listen to that. But there's nothing there. I don't know why
Flashing, glitchy
I
patterns.
built this entire scene for no reason.
No, but I think it creates the environment and it also helped like in the world building. Like you can tell the university was kind of abandoned. You have all of the eye imagery. It all gives me like sci-fi elements to it as well. There's like some hints of things here and there about the world, society. Yeah, I think this contributes to the environment, and not everyone that you find in real life will be helpful to you. Yeah, I think it contributes to the experience.
Oh, good.
Definitely dead.
Yeah, so I guess one of the challenges for the player is really you have to sort through all this stuff.
Same old
It's
model
like
as
it's
mine.
more about discarding things and
Nobody
saying,
bothered stealing
okay,
it.
that's useless. I don't need to be there, or I don't need to do that. There's quite a few weird clues you can pick up in this level, which I've
They've
never
been
seen
emptied.
players pick up before. Maybe that's my fault. I need to try and make them maybe a bit more apparent.
A faded printed
Where
statue project led by
we'll try and reward the player in some way,
proposals by
because some
Friday.
people. So this demo is supposed to be like 20-40 minutes, I reckon. And I've seen people play for like 2 hours, 3 hours, putting the kind of numbers on Steam. And some people really go through everything. I don't think
Yeah.
it's just.
An
I hope it's not
alphabetic sort.
just because they're stuck, but it's like they really
Maybe it's
like
just abstract.
checking what everything does. So trying to reward these players, completionists, with I think like Steve achievements.
No,
There will be like a bit
it's
of a
beyond safe.
meta story where you can learn a little bit more about the world when you go through these things.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because I'm a player that definitely does that. I analyze everything. I try to interact with everything and talk to everything. And she gives like very snappy answers. Like, why would I talk to that? Like, there's no point. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I like that.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, she's a bit like, she can be a bit sassy sometimes. So
Yeah,
hopefully-
she is.
Yeah,
By a certain dormer. This has
but it's
to be a
also because
coincidence,
so much of it
or
is
is it?
like, no, I can't do that. I shouldn't do
I
this.
wonder what the statue project is.
If it's too long, it becomes really tedious for the player. So that's why sometimes she just says no. You're right. It's like no.
Yeah.
And I would even like it if sometimes she doesn't say anything. Maybe she just like shakes her head, but I haven't worked it out yet.
Like, no.
Yeah. Just like, wave a finger.
A small-scale version of the university includes a statue of a torch-wielding man.
I love
There's a
this
quote
shot.
on the miniature plaque, so that society may gain wisdom as fast as science gathers knowledge.
That
Part of Dormer's
You?
project. The statue does stand out.
right.
Mm-hmm.
The quote might also lead me somewhere.
So you said that the game won't have, multiple endings, and it'll be more of a linear experience. How long is it gonna be?
The way I see it is probably you play in like maybe 3 or 4 sessions of
Unknown
2 hours
spark
each.
liquids.
So it's probably 6 to 8 hours.
I'm not touching that.
But again, I mean,
That won't
what
help.
you're playing now, the prologue, 40 minutes.
Two photocopies
Yeah,
of the
I'm really
same
bad
level.
at guessing because, like
One
I was telling you, I
standard
was looking at the
review.
numbers.
Please validate your temporary
Yeah,
addresses
it's really
with the
hard to
admin
tell how
department.
some players just go through it really fast, and some of them
Reading them is enough.
take their time, take their sweet time. But I reckon 6
Looks
to
like
8
it's been
hours. Yeah.
emptied.
Okay. Is it gonna be like divided by chapters? Your division.
No, there's natural breaks. There's like a kind of classic 3 acts
A sketch
kind
of
of
a
thing
statue.
going.
Some kind of insect.
But it's more
with
where
a
you go
heart.
to a new place. It doesn't.
Someone
The game
annotated
doesn't
with a red
stop
pen
and sit like next to
suggesting
you.
the design was approved. The same person also penned a playful acrostic. B is for brilliant. I is for intellectuals. O is for of. E is for exponential. T is for t. There used to be more, but the ink has bled.
When she said this, when I wrote it, I was like, oh no, I should be writing this down. Oh no, what if it's helpful? But then I didn't have to do it. I was like, oh, all right, I'm good.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I hope you don't need to
It
write
must be one
anything
of the
down.
proposed
'Cause
designs.
there are games like that
There's
which
my
I really
brother
like.
Dormer
I
in
play
charge
a lot
the
of puzzle
project.
games.
Did he
You need to
approve
write
it?
things down. Hopefully,
The symbolism
her
would
brain
be
takes care of all
significant.
that. You just need to tell the game that you've worked it out, and then she will remember it for you.
The acrostic could also be a clue.
So how does like the creation of the puzzle come to fruition? How do you create it?
It's a good question.
Nothing helpful there.
I mean, obviously, you start backwards. The thing with the game is that all the scenes were written, so there's a natural destination when you want to take the player. Say the player needs to go there. So how do we lead them there in a way that makes sense within the story?
I don't
There's
get
a big
it.
thing I was trying to do. I don't know if I
I'm
always
not
succeeded,
sure how.
but it's that every puzzle in the game reveals a bit of information either about the world or about what you're trying to do or about the characters, because the currency of the game is like information. So we're trying to create
Mass-produced
the
plastic.
obstacles. You have to
Nothing
create
unusual.
obstacles, but hopefully they're not too
It's intense.
what's the word I'm looking for, arbitrary. It doesn't feel like it's just an obstacle for the sake of it. So
Passed out.
a good example is
I
like a
assume
locked
he was
door.
riding the
There's lots of
projector.
in classic games. There's always a locked door. You have to get there.
I salute him.
In this game, there's very few
No
locked doors.
response.
When there are, like the password or the way to get in,
That can't be comfortable.
hopefully gives you a bit more information about the world around it.
Should I ask her
And
something?
yeah, to answer your
No,
question
she's
in
too
more
far gone.
general term, I think this is something that point-and-click games do really well, which is that the puzzles are part of the story, rather than, it's not like a game with a story with puzzles on top. It's like the puzzles
X, Y, and Z
are linked
zoology mostly.
with the story, and it's definitely something we're trying to do when creating puzzles.
Books on immunology mostly. I to J
But
section.
it is a challenge. I think a lot of games have that. The puzzle just feel very disconnected to the world where they are and to the story.
G
can
and H
imagine
for
quite the
histology.
challenge to come up with a good
Whatever that
puzzle
is.
and
Looks
have
like
it
the bookcases are not
be
in
connected
alphabetical
to
order.
what you're telling.
Yeah, it's difficult, and I'm not saying. I mean, I know you don't always
UVW
succeed.
section,
Sometimes it does feel like, oh,
mostly for
why is that a
vascular
puzzle
biology.
where you could talk to someone and they will point you in the right direction straight away. But it's also it's a detective game essentially,
M to N,
so you need to have this
books
kind
on
of
molecular stuff and nano
the
things.
mechanic.
So much non-digital data.
Yeah, because she's a reporter, and
O
again,
for
this
optogenetics.
noir world
P for pharmacology.
on the surface is like a classic detective game. And in fact, what you end up with, your inventory,
Books on topics starting
it's
with
like the
E or
classic
F.
detective pinboard, right?
Loads on
We
ethics
imagine
and
with the
ethnography.
red lines connecting the dots and stuff like that. It's
Structural,
kind of what you end
synthetic,
up with.
and systems biology. All topics found in the ST sections. Most of the books in here must be forbidden by now. Explains why nobody raided the place. Q to R. A large section on quantum physics.
Hi, sorry, I'm back.
The
Hi.
C to D section. Books on cell and developmental biology.
I can't hear you. A technical problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
K and L. Mostly for kinesiology.
So right now I'm just investigating all of the bookcases and see the topic.
A, B. Animal rights, biology, and a large section on bioethics.
So, how are you doing like the marketing? I'm curious because it's always challenging to put your game out there. What is like your strategy right now?
I wish I had a strategy. It's so hard. Oh man, it's tough. I have no idea what I'm doing. I had I had a Twitter account that was okay, and I was like rage quit Twitter about a year ago. So I had to start again, like deleted the account and I start again. But what we do is a lot of starting being picked up. So we do the festival circuits. So this is what will be at IndieX. We'll be in Portugal. I'll be there. And that served us well because first of all, it's great to see people, real people play it.
On toxic fungi and military operations.
And also, it is. I mean, people say that the game tends to stand out, just the visual and everything. So it makes it attractive for the festival people to have something a little bit different like that. So we've been asked to go to a lot of festivals, and this is what I'm doing for the next 6 months, just traveling here and there to show it to people until it's released. The only thing, it takes a lot of time away from the actual development, but this is what we're doing. But I'm super excited to go to IndieX. Like, this is one of the ones I really wanted to attend. I've never been before, but it's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's great. And like in person, it's always very different because you can actually see the body language, see them react, and how they're thinking. It is a different experience.
Yeah. You mentioned the body language. It's so funny. Like some people, so when they get stuck, they really like tense up, and you see, and when they get it, it's like, oh, they really, really relax. It's really cool to see players like that. We also got a couple of players, WASD, WASD, in London, and every time they got a clue, they were cheering like, yeah, proper like going for it. The best players you can have.
Issues in weaponized mycotoxins. I've browsed it. No valuable.
Done here.
I assume it's about bioethics, but they don't keep a copy.
So many books and no copy of this.
Yeah.
I hope eventually we're gonna find out a copy.
There is a copy somewhere.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Bolted to the floor. Looks like it's been hijacked. notice about parking vehicles.
Yeah, so
Some content is missing.
I need to work on this. It's supposed to. It's really
Vehicles
faint.
without
It's supposed to see
authorized,
text, but I can't see on your screen.
forcibly removed
So
from.
I'm
Yeah, I
going to
can
update that.
Please
You can see.
ensure
You can see.
necessary
I can't.
All right.
parking
There should be
outside
some
the-
like really faint text, but it's too faint, and in some configurations it doesn't show up as well. So
bolted to the
it's very
looks
misleading.
like it's been hijacked.
So that's going on my list straight away.
Temporary address forwarding. Biochem, 7A Market Street. Biophysics, 64 Signmakers Yard.
Is there anything about
86
the game
Keshwang Place.
or the development
Ethics of
that you would like
Biology,
to share? Any
341
funny
Belvedere
stories?
Heights. Ethics of Life
No,
Sciences,
Skills?
nothing
773
funny. It's
Yamshire
horrible.
Avenue.
Mostly horror.
Virology,
Oh no!
Seacroft Place.
Yeah.
Please confirm with office before.
Yeah.
Why horror? Because of like the whole Kickstarter thing?
Oh, the Kickstarter people are lovely. Like, every time I say sorry, it's going to be another 6 months. They're like, we understand. It takes time. I think a lot of people, myself, you fund projects on Kickstarter.
This one
You
is
expect
upside
not to
down.
see anything sometimes.
Following last
Yeah.
week's
It doesn't feel good that it's
all
taking so long.
purchased equipment.
And yeah, the amount of
That won't
work
get me
and
far.
yeah, it's just it's tough. It's also stupid the way it started. It was like,
The student
oh,
protest is going on as
I've
planned.
never made a game before.
Please
I've always
ensure
been
you
interested in game design. It's like, how
necessary
hard can it be? And then it's like
preparations.
8 years later or whatever, the game's still not out. It's just this stage where I can't wait for it to be out. Already thinking about the next one, and it's good. It's going to be good, but can't wait for it to be done.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
So you were always interested in game design. Were you like in a similar industry before? You just jumped right into it.
No, jumped right into it. Games always been a big part of my life. I grew up with point-and-click games, the LucasArts ones.
Yes.
But what I really like about these conferences, like I said, IndieX, is mostly talking to developers. I say like I love game design more than games now.
Quote mentions science.
Don't really
An
still play
address points
quite
to
a
the
few
ethics
games,
of
but
life sciences department.
just love learning how people create
No,
games.
that's
It's one
too
of the
vague.
most exciting things for me. And yeah, the developers
No
are
mentions of bioethics,
super nice everywhere we go around the world. It's just like
Mhm.
such a nice crowd to be around.
but there is an address for the ethics of biology department.
Yep, you got it.
341 Belvedere Heights. I expect it might lead me to a colleague or fellow professor, but this is Leo's home.
That's it. That's the end of the demo.
That's the end of the a really good teaser to end it with, like right in front of the house. It's very, very mysterious, very moody.
Yeah, thank you for playing.
If anyone wants to wishlist it, please do it. It helps a lot.
Yeah, if you want to spread the word about it as well, if you like it, you
Yep.
probably do a better job at it than us. But yeah, very excited to show it in person at IndieX Lisbon soon. And we're taking it around the world, a few other places early next year, and hopefully it's out at
What
some
places
point.
are you gonna visit?
Going to Berlin, maybe LA, it's not sure yet. Yeah, just a few places. So
All
nothing,
around.
yeah, nothing set in stone yet.
Right. I would imagine it's pretty tiring as well to jump from place to place and just try to sell the game pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's still relaxed. It's not like I don't need people to like go and wishlist and buy it straight away. It's mostly talking to people and seeing how it does in front of people. It's really fun. It's
Alright,
the
great.
dream. Yeah.
That's good because there are some people that are very into the development of the game, but they don't really like that part of it. And I can imagine there's also the opposite. So I think it's pretty positive that you do enjoy going from place to place, which is people's reactions to it.
Oh yeah, it's like, but I do like I shut down because so much of your life is just me in front of the computer, just like working spreadsheet, blah blah blah, and every now and then you get this week we could just can switch it on. I'm still in the conference mode now because I've just come back from Australia, where I can talk about it. It's fine, but then I will just not talk to anyone for 2 3 months and put my head down. So it's a good amount of it's a good balance.
Yeah, you get to recharge and just focus again on the project, and then you jump again to the talking part.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and for showcasing the game, talking a little bit about it. It was very interesting.
Cool. Thank you for playing. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but and you say you're not going to be in person at IndieX, but hopefully maybe some other place in the future.
Yes, hopefully so. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.